Reviews, and we're back to talk more Batman the Animated Series. We're on episode 6. It is called It's Never Too Late. So, full spoilers if you've not seen this episode as we go deep diving back into the world of Batman TAS. Um, Now, some people, like when you look at all the episodes of Batman the Animated Series, this isn't one that usually probably pops up for a lot of people because it deals with more of the street level stuff, organized crime. There's no big supervillain in this. This is just a small story. I mean, it has big ramifications. It actually, has impact on the overall show because this is where a man named Stromwell, who is running Gotham, uh, kind of passes the torch in a way inadvertently to Rupert Thorne, which this is the first episode, I believe, with Rupert Thorne. I could be wrong about that. I'm not. I'm trying to remember if he was in. He wasn't in Christmas with the Joker. He wasn't in Heart of Ice. He wasn't in Feet of Clay. So unless he was in On Leather Wings, this is his first appearance officially for the show. And Rupert Thorne, voiced by the late great John Vernon. Man, John Vernon, come on. If you okay, so like anybody that's young isn't gonna know this probably. He was the dean in Animal House, and so many things. He's got that great voice. Um, I mean, yeah, Animal House, man. Oh man, this also has a great character actor Eugene Roche who plays Stromwell. Vernon passed, and so did Roche. Roche died in '04. He plays Stromwell, and we also have Paul Dooley, he was born the same year as Roche, but he's still alive and kicking. Paul Dooley is another great character actor. He's got a very recognizable voice. He's been in everything. All these guys have done so much. It's kind of the old guard, which is interesting. Kind of how this, watching this all these years later. Um, how these men really are the old men now. I mean, even though a lot of them have passed. Also, Catherine Hellman has a brief appearance in this. If you don't know who Catherine Hellman is, she was in Brazil. She was on Soap. She was Mona from Who's the Boss. She's so this episode has a lot of people. So like even though Kevin is always brilliant as always, it's nice to see all these different actors, and there's more than that. I mean, you got Robert Costanzo as Bullock, and you got Bob Hastings as Commissioner Gordon. All these just great, talented people. Um, and for the trivia for this, oh wow, and I forgot to. As always, I got my control way too far away. So for the trivia on this, and trivia, I mean like the facts and things that I found about it. Um, this is definitely inspired by like A Christmas Carol and It's a Wonderful Life. Um, the Stromwell priest relationship, I guess, is supposed to kind of resemble the characters from Angels with Dirty Faces. There's a definite feel of old Hollywood crime stories in this, James Cagney kind of stuff. But yeah, definitely mixed with Christmas Carol, It's a Wonderful Life, somebody seeing, looking at the past of their life and how it's affected their present and how it could affect their future. And the impact that somebody has had in the world. In this case, a boss. Even though they kind of boil it down to just like one thing. Well, two things really. Um, but director Boyd Kirkland, he says, he's the director of this episode. He said that this is kind of like how Batman, like the epitome of how Batman should be portrayed. Being like the behind the scenes guy, kind of manipulating things. Like he's never behind. He's never playing catch up. He's set this all up. And I do like that idea of it. I think that depending on your interpretation, there's lots of different ways to take a Batman story and do a Batman story. This, I do agree, like he's kind of the puppet master behind all this. So like you can tell it's been set up. Especially like later on when he talks to the priest and he's like, today's the day. Like, that this is something that they've talked about. Um, da, 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 da. Bruce Timm had said that this episode made Gotham feel like a real place for the first time because of the way Boyd Kirkland storyboarded and directed it. And yeah, that's really true. I mean, Gotham City is definitely a character on this show. I wrote it as one of the first things that popped out was like, yeah, you're always going to have Batman. He looks cool. But the Art Deco and the neo-noir kind of look to everything just makes, I mean, so many people have used it now. And it gives this show this classic yet modern look. Like we're in the modern world, but it's like, you know, with the cars and everything else, you feel like you're in another world. And it's one of the reasons why it's just so damn cool. Um, and for our tip of the hat to the little guys here that don't get a lot of notice, we're going to be talking about dialogue editors. And I picked dialogue editors because they're the ones who sync things up, like voice and music and all that. And since I finally, I believe, got my intro synced up with the animation, I feel like I feel like I did my own dialogue editing pretty well this time. I always have the lightning and the thunder kind of off by like a half a second. But I think today I got it perfectly right. So I'm going to save this template for videos that I do for Batman the Animated Series, just so I don't have to keep doing it over and over and over again. Today, these people have worked, these several people have worked, you know, for a long time in the industry, starting with Mark Keats. His like most recent thing, one of the most recent things he's done is Wonder Woman Bloodlines, and going all the way back to the Future, this TV series in '91. And then we have like Aaron L. King. He's recently worked on True Blood and also Back to the Future, and then Tiny Toon Adventures going all the way back. All these people basically started around the time that I was really getting into all this stuff. And I was like 15 or 16. So some people would say you're a little old for like Tiny Toons, but you're... I was always into I always loved cartoons. I still do. Coming up to the next guy really made me go, oh wow, you liked everything, didn't you, Rob? Which was Jeff M. Sliney, whose most recent credit is, I just had to write it, Succubus, Hellbent. But he also worked on the short Batman Dead End, and I believe isn't that the one with Batman versus aliens and predators and stuff? That short is something I need to rewatch today, I think. But he also did New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, and I remember watching that because I remember thinking, man, they really did a good job at making it look like classic Winnie the Pooh, if you know what I'm talking about. So anyway, this episode really is the first organized crime episode. There's no Joker, there's no Riddler or Penguin or anything like that. It's just a story about these two rival gangs, one run by Arnold Strouch and the other by Rupert Thorne, by John Vernon. I always like the fact that in this episode they talk about how it's young versus old. But Stromwell's old, and Rupert Thorne's just this gray-haired guy. He doesn't look like no spring chicken, unless they're talking about like the crime family that Thorne has maybe is young. But it's just these are two old dudes, man. One's just maybe slightly younger than the other one. And so, yeah, and Stromwell's whole thing in this, because they're at war, and Stromwell's son has been kidnapped. He finds out from the TV that his son is kidnapped, and he instantly blames Thorne. But they set up this meeting to try to figure out how to work things out and how he can get his son back. But Stromwell is also haunted by this event from his past, where he sees this train by, and it makes him think of this time when he was young and he's saying he's going to take over Gotham someday, and his foot gets stuck in the railroad tracks, and he barely gets out, and then he gets to the next set of tracks, and then instantly another train is coming to run him over. And we cut away because they want to save the real surprise for later. But this thing has kind of been like one of the most impactful moments of his life. But Thorne and them get together after Bats like talks to the father like he's doing right here, like again showing that he had this all set up, that someday this was going to go down. Someday Thorne and Stromwell were going to get into it so bad that Bats is picking the lesser of two evils, basically, of trying to get the one person, one of the more reasonable of the two, supposedly. That they're both unreasonable, they're both stubborn, they're both killers, they're both bad people, really bad people. They don't really talk about how bad they've been, but I mean, they talk about how Stromwell used to sell drugs and now he manufactures them, so he's behind, deaths all over the place. They just don't come right out and say it. And what I love about that is they trust you to understand it. They don't hold your hand. They don't need to tell you what the ins and outs of a crime organization is. You know that there's blood on the streets. Well, they end up having their meeting where Thorne's already, like, at the beginning, before Bats goes to see the priest, he pretends, he disguises himself as a drunk in a restaurant so that he can put a bug on the table, and he hears Thorne's planning on killing him. So Bats already has, like, the inside information, what to do here to foil Thorne's plans. Even though in the end it's kind of like you're trading one for another, so instead of two gangs killing each other, you just have one guy. And Thorne kind of becomes literally the thorn in Batman's side for like the good majority of this show. In fact, probably all of it. And again, I just always want to see Batman just break Thorne's face up. Every time he hits him, I'm like, man, you're not going far enough. Break him, man. Like, really break him. But I know that you can't do that on a kid's show. So they get Stromwell in there. He kind of roughs Thorne up, saying, "Where's my kid?" And he's like, we don't touch family," which that's a load of garbage. But whatever. I mean, all right. So we had more technical difficulties. Like I said, my new camera came the other day, but it's like I bought it and it says it's the demo version. So I have to find the software, the full version of the software, and pay for it. But I haven't been able to find it. So I'm almost starting to feel like I got scammed, but I think I'm probably just not looking hard enough. But to get back into this, so sorry about that. I know it's like a second for you guys, but I had to edit this, and it takes a while. Thorne tells him, "Hey, yeah, I'm going to go in this other room. We're going to figure out this whole stuff with your kid, but you know it's a setup." Stromwell figures out it's a setup, and Bats knew it was a setup, so he's in the room and you cut to the outside, and the whole place blows up. They just blew up a whole like pizza place just to kill Stromwell, and it's like that's overkill, man. That's somebody else's livelihood. You just trashed. I don't know if Thorne will pay this guy back for his whole damn building, but as Bullock says, they had the best cannolis. Also, Gordon and Bullock here in this, they don't have too much to do, but there's like this funny exchange between them, and Gordon kind of feels responsible, it feels like, because he had talked about them on the news, and then all this happens, and it's all of a sudden it's worse. But Bats got him out. He's running across the rooftops. You get this bystander who's like, sees it happen. He's like, "Wow, he really is out there." And he's also the guy that comes to Gordon saying, "No, there wasn't anybody in there, but Bats got him out." And he says, "He was a dark angel from the fire of Hades." But now Thorne had a guy there, and now just to like confirm what happened, and now they know that they're both, Bats got him out, and so Thorne wants them both dead. So Bats takes Stromwell on kind of a little tour of his old haunting grounds, his old stomping grounds on drugs, and now talking about manufacturing them. And he takes him to this rehab center. He doesn't care about this, and he goes inside and he finds his son is. His son was never kidnapped. His ex-wife, who left him with their son, and now is like taking care of her son in rehab because he's, trying to get off the drugs that Stromwell sold and he used. And so now his son is near death because of what he was doing. And then you get, so you get to the point here where like, Bats asks, Stromwell to give him all his information so that they can take it to the cops and end this. And the whole time I'm thinking, that's not how this works. Like, it's a great sentiment. Bats isn't, trying to get something done. And so I thought that, he's just going to hand him over the paperwork. And I was like, this is way too weird. People just aren't that good. People that are like Stromwell don't just suddenly go, okay. Even with their family and the things they've done, faced with all that, there's a reason why they do it. And it's not, if they cared about their family, they would never in the first place. Anybody who thinks that they're doing it in like Walter White kind of way, where it's like, no, you're not doing it for your family to, give them what they want. You're doing it for you. This is about you. It's not about your family. And so just when I thought this was kind of stupid, he does the thing that a person, I think, really does. And he pulls a rifle on Batman. He gives him fake papers and then pulls a rifle on him, showing us the harsh reality that, people just don't change like that. And so, he's like talking about he's got scores to settle and all this other stuff. Well, Thorn catches up to them and like throws tear gas into the building to get them out. And in this whole section here, the way they animate the inside of the building with the filter, I think they must use to show that there's gas in there, like walking through it, it's kind of got this fog. Like if your camera has like it's been exposed to like condensation or something, and you can look like kind of washed out. It was really, really cool, that extra detail that they added to that. But it was only in that, scene, so you might have thought, oh, what'd they do with the animation? Somebody screw up. No, it's intentional. And it's just another great way and another great attention to detail. Like, other shows probably wouldn't do that, They just probably make a bunch of, like, smoke, that would distort everything. Instead, they just kind of show, you see the characters, it's just through this foggy lens. It's really, really interesting. Thorn sending in his guys. Bat's taking them out. Using the one guy as a human shield. Like, coming out of the dark really slowly and quietly. Like, he's got this guy just, like, jacked up in front of him so that they can get out of there. And what happens ends up being that Stromwell ends up back on the tracks. Where he relives that moment again. He's in the spot where everything went down. Like how his life kind of changed and turned, and should have changed but didn't turn. And so you see the whole thing happen, the train coming, he gets off the tracks, and then another train comes, and his brother Michael, who is now the priest in the the present, he doesn't die, but he pulled his brother off the tracks at the last minute and lost his leg because of it. And now, all these years later, his brother is coming to him saying, we have to help you. I have to help you figure this out. You have to stop this. And he's like, he only knock on wood on his leg and everything. And that was clever. But he tells him, like, you need to stop this. We have to get you out of this. And he's like, well, I don't need to do anything. I'm fine. I'm great. I'm grand. And he's like, yeah, let's see. You're wanted by everybody. Your whole empire is crumbling around you. Your wife is left you. Your son's in rehab. Sure, you're doing fine. And that delivery is just great because it's not mocking. It's not over the top mocking, or it's just that slight sarcasm of, yeah, you're great, man. This is all great. And so he finally realizes that this, he can't go on. And again, it's the sentiment that's nice. It feels old Hollywood. It's a Wonderful Life. This person seeing the light, but not really seeing the light, more like facing the consequences for what he's done his whole life. When he could have, like, made that turn, like his brother went to the priesthood, he went to crime. I mean, it's a classic kind of story, that they've told many, many different ways. But not really in the, like, I guess, like, they say it's based on kind of Angels with Dirty Faces, and I, be honest with you, I haven't seen it. I know all these names, and I know the actors in them, but I've kind of got, like, this whole I don't like watching old movies, because just the way that, people talk about, like, the way Hollywood is now and how sleazy it is, but there's a hypocrisy of old, I'm not going to get into all that. Not right here, not right now. But it just makes me, this whole thing is just, it's a nice sentiment. It's supposed to teach people, like, kids are watching this, crime doesn't pay. It's a really, really, really well handled for kids, how to show people, don't do drugs, don't sell drugs. Or your brother will lose his leg, and you're going to end up with a crime family and kids in rehab and a divorced wife and everything around you. And so you've got all this power, but you're really not happy. And it's taken, people like Thorn love this kind of thing. But regular people, And so Thorne, he tries to get in the way again. Batman takes out his guys here and there, and Stromwell finally, after Batman knocks Thorne out, and at that point when he comes in and kicks him right in the chest, I was like, just keep hitting him. Just break some bones, man. I don't know. I just wanted the next scene to just show Thorne like in a body cast, like. Argh! But the cops roll up, and Stromwell says that I have a statement to make. And so you know that he's gonna do the right thing. But in the end, what he's doing is he's breaking apart his empire, but he's giving it unintentionally to Thorne. Now Thorne's gonna step in. And I guess for Bats, maybe it's like, well, I got rid of one. Now it's time, I only have to focus on one crime family instead of two. So he didn't really stop anything, but more. Like he's decreased the amount of people that are causing harm. But now he's still got to deal with more. Like, and that's Gotham City. There's always going to be somebody, to take the place of the next thing. And why Batman's, why the whole thing about justice and what Batman does, it never ends. I mean, even in Metropolis, there's always something going on. Like Gotham isn't the only, hellhole in the DC universe. Otherwise they wouldn't need superheroes. So, and again, I'm going to end this pretty soon here because, the camera has now started to glitch already. So, anyway, it's never too late. It's a really good episode as far as like, if you like the kind of the sentimental, nostalgic, old-time Hollywood stuff, which I do. I like this episode a lot. It just is not one of those standout ones, and because it's a little cheesy with the message, but still, like, again, for a kid's show, and it's not holding your hand, it's trusting you to be able to read the subtext here. Again, it's why it's the best animated show. It's in some ways I hate calling it the best animated show. It's the best animated show, but it's one of the best shows of all time. I firmly believe that this is one of the best things that's ever been put on television. Like if they make a list that if this isn't on it because it's animated or something like that, it's a shame. So anyway, I can't remember what the next episode's going to be in the list, but we'll be back next week with more Batman the Animated Series. We'll be doing episode 7. I know the Cat and the Claw are coming up, and we're going to do that as a 2-part, like one episode for 2 parts. But I also know Nothing to Fear is coming up pretty soon. It's Joker's Favor. Joker's Favor is the next episode, I think. So anyway, if you liked this deep dive review into Batman the Animated Series, please hit the like button, comment, leave your comments, tell me what you guys think about this, what I've been doing here. What do you guys think of Batman the Animated Series? What do you think about this episode? Which episodes are you looking forward to? Because we've already hit a few that are really hard and strong, like On Leather Wings, Christmas with the Joker, Heart of Ice, Feet of Clay. They're all just classic. So let me know which ones you guys are looking at. Subscribe to the channel if you're liking my content. I know I don't get tons of views on these, but I do these because I love them and all the people that we reach. So share this video with people that like Batman the Animated Series. Seriously, I'm trying to reach as many people, but it's not about there are people out there that want this kind of content, and they don't know what's out there because of how YouTube is. So if you like this, please share this with other people, so that we can all be a part of the bigger community. And the more people that we can get in on this, I think it'd be really cool to have bigger, maybe have bigger episodes, and maybe involve other YouTubers who want to talk about this as well. So anyway, that's my 2 cents in the whole thing. So this is Rob, the Smirking Interview, saying we'll be back next week with episode 7, Joker's Favor, I think. I'll be kicking myself in the next week if that's not what it is. So this is Rob saying have a great day, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye.